G'day, Brad Scott here from The Naked Zombie. Now, if you like geek apparel, if you like cool, geek, nerdy, awesome collectible toys like bobbleheads from The Walking Dead, great t-shirts from Doctor Who, and all the fun stuff that makes us nerds unique, well then you need to go to Zombie Steve's. Now, you'll find them at
www.zombiesteves.com.au.
Oh my lord.
You go there and you will find the best in what the geeks can get their hands on. I'm Brad Scott. I endorse this message.
Seriously.
It is time, once again, to lock your doors, shut your windows, strap yourself into your favorite comfy chair, and tune out and tune into The Naked Zombie.
G'day boys and girls, and welcome to a special edition of The Naked Zombie. We are currently sitting in the zombie car, aren't we, mate?
We are. The zombie mobile.
The zombie mobile. See, what we decided to do tonight, look, to do things to give you the 5 nights a week, we have commitments. Lots of commitments. Well, I've got commitments, lots of commitments with my 2 kids. And tonight I'm sitting outside the Kenmore soccer fields with Liam in the car next to me recording the show. That's probably why it sounds a little bit different. But on top of that, again, we're only 300 metres away from the quite active Chapel Hill Cemetery.
We are. So, yeah,
Just gone quiet, isn't it?
So, yeah, just up the top of the hill. So, yeah, beautiful little cemetery, but always seems to be quite active. And I've had, a number of experiences of just weird and wacky things that have gone on there over the years.
And I'm having experience now because we're sitting in the car together and he's moving his hand closer to my lap for some reason. Can you just move that? Okay. Sorry, mate. I like you, but
There are boundaries.
There are boundaries. So you've had some experience at the Chapel Hill Cemetery. Literally, I'll explain where we are so people get a visualization in their head, because this is radio. Well, it's car radio tonight.
It is.
We're out of the cardboard box, the studio, which basically we call the studio the cardboard box, and I've been calling it that for friggin' years. Well, since we've been doing the show anyway, because that's where Hobo Bill sleeps. So where we are, we're going to do the show in the car tonight, and where we are is at the Kenmore soccer fields. Now, my son comes out and practices soccer here, and what we do is we actually go and up the road there, 300 metres, is the Chapel Hill Cemetery. And you've had some really weird stuff happen there, mate.
Yeah, unique stuff. So, on a number of occasions, I've been to Chapel Hill. I haven't been there for quite a number of years now. It's a bit of a shame, but definitely through sort of the late 90s and early 2000s.
I think we've scared the gentleman next to us in the car. He's probably heard. Yeah, he's looking over. Yes, we actually have a gentleman that's now moving his car because of the fear that we are provoking.
Yeah, touching on all the big topics here.
It was because we started taking our shirts off. Do you reckon that would have done something?
Possibly.
Yeah, the car is now leaving. Yeah, so we're getting left alone, as you can hear. So sorry, I'm getting. Oh no, he's coming back. No, he's back. He wants to join in. He's come to clean the pool. Sorry, Chapel Hill. I really interrupted you. Sorry.
So on a number of occasions through being there, I've come across just weird stuff and some quite startling things as well. On one occasion in the cemetery, a girl who was with our group was walking just at the front of the cemetery and let out a squeal, and we all ran over to see what was going on, and she told us that she'd just been walking along and had gotten this huge smell, a big whiff of what seemed to her like a strawberry scent or a floral kind of scent. Just really, really strong. And at the same time as she'd gotten that and had turned around to go and investigate, she got grabbed in what she sort of described as a huge bear hug, or like quite a firm hug, but not not painful or anything. And she'd let out a squeal and ran over. And very fortunately, at the time that it had happened, she had a tape recorder in her hand, because we were trying to catch some EVPs at the time. So we stopped the tape recorder and rewound it back to the sort of 20 odd seconds preceding her getting the big bear hug, and crystal clear on the tape. You know, as if somebody had just talked straight into the microphone, was a very clear hello.
Yeah.
So yeah, she got the absolute triple headers. Getting that smell, the big aroma, the hug, and the big hello on the tape recorder all at the same time.
And what we've got is, at the moment, we have a car. We picked a great spot to do the show tonight, didn't we?
So not just active in Chapel Hill Cemetery, it's active at the soccer grounds as well.
Yeah, so as we've got a car alarm going, we are winning. How many other, how many other radio shows, paranormal shows, would delve into the mystique that is doing it in the car?
Yep.
Seriously, they're all sitting in their comfy little studios at the moment, having their little cappuccinos and little bit of
soy latte,
and talking about couscous and all the rest of it. Yet we're toughing it out in the zombie mobile, doing the show. I think that's pretty awesome, man. The things we do for our fans, eh? And speaking of fans, and we'll get back to Chapel Hill in a minute, have you noticed the amount of people that are starting to click on the page?
Yeah, so the numbers are it's
slowly
increasing.
going up. It's going up just through natural nutrition. It's going up through no pain of bloody for likes or anything. I mean, that frustrates the shit out of me, eh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I really can't see the point in paying for likes on your Facebook page. That's just why. Because as soon as you stop paying, the likes disappear. So you actually notice it as, and I've seen it a few times. You see, I get all these likes since they stop forking out the coin. The likes disappear again.
But I mean, there's no sense of achievement either in that. So
there is no sense of achievement in that. I'm just being a grumpy old prick at the moment because I'm sitting in the car with Liam and he's looking at me in a loving sort of way. So Chapel Hill was an experience. Now we're going to try and get up there. Actually, what do you reckon we do a show up there?
Yeah.
We'll do a show at Chapel Hill. I'll wait till I get my recording equipment back off Andrew. Just sort of throw that in there, because he listens to the show.
Public service announcement.
Public service, Andrew. We know where you live. Drop back off my voice recorder. We're doing it the old-fashioned way at the moment. But yeah, so we're going to go up there, and I think we might actually we might do it during a weeknight.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like late in the afternoon, we've still got a bit of light, and I'll take the good camera, and we'll go out there and see what we can get. But another thing before we go on, it was brought to my attention that, you know how I went out to Slaughter Falls?
Yeah. Just a couple of nights ago.
We went out to Slaughter Falls. We took David and Emma Snow out, and of course, Maddie and Jeff were there from Dark Cell. Well, they're part of Naked Zombie. They're Dark Cell Productions as well. And Ghost Rider, great guy, fan of the show and everything. He's been looking at the photos and he reckons he may have captured something.
He does. So it's a couple of them by the look of it.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. But he seems pretty convinced that there's actually someone standing behind watching us. So the photo of me, myself, Dave and Emma, when we got the photo of the three of us taken, there's something standing behind us in the bushes, and he's blown it up and he's done stuff. He's actually outlined it. So if you go to Ghost Riders, it's Ghost Riders as in ghost, all capitals, and Riders, capital R-I-D-E-R-S. Or you'll find he reckons he's found some interesting photos and what appears to be a big monkey face in one of the photos as well. Now, I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's a bit of pareidolia or if it's actually something, but if you're interested in having a look and you make up your own mind from there, because I'm big on that, let people make their own minds on it. Even though I'm pretty, I'm not an expert.
Yep.
That photography, I've made that quite clear. So, you Chapel Hill. I keep getting sidetracked, don't I?
You do.
Am I just old or what?
Time for your meds.
I think so. Another thing is too, boys and girls, that they're made official tonight. There's another car starting up. We are such a prime location to do the show tonight. Thank you. Diesel truck sitting next to me, just sitting there idling. Another thing was, it's official. My wife reckons I look like a hobo. And she wants me to shave the beard.
Yeah, you'll be challenging Hobo Bill for prime position.
Oh, she hates it with a passion. She's just going... She won't even give me kisses anymore, dude. I get no sugar off my
It's
wife.
rough.
It is rough and manly. Alright, so look, I've stopped crapping on with crap now because the folks tonight want to hear our ghost stories and our experiences. And that was the show is about tonight. So you'll have to mind the audio quality. I know how good it is. I'll try and fix it up and hopefully you'll get some decency out of it.
As the plover flies over.
As
the
a
top of the
plover
car.
flies over. Oh, good. Places we do the show, man, I tell you. Oh, on drugs. Now, you had that young lady who got bear hugged.
Yep.
She smelt strawberries. And on the EVP said hello exactly the same time it happened.
Yep, so all
Now,
three coincided.
She let out a full mighty big scream, didn't she?
She did.
She just about woke the dead, as it were.
Yep.
There you go. So Chapel Hill Cemetery, worthwhile checking out, which we're going to do hopefully sometime this week, and we'll do it for part of the show. Also, you were saying that one of your friends saw a little girl.
Yeah,
You tell
so
that story.
on a different occasion, in the cemetery, not sort of far from the front of the cemetery as well, noticed a little girl who looked sort of around the age of about 9 or 10 skip through the cemetery and looked quite, very vivid and quite solid.
Yeah.
And my friend ran off after this little girl who sort of ducked down one of the sides of the cemetery. It sort of slopes away to try and catch the little girl, and gave out a big shout that she'd just seen a little girl. So everyone ran over and we asked her what did the little girl look like, and she said, oh, she had plaits, and the unusual thing was her clothes were fairly bland and nondescript, almost like they were sort of 1940s, 1930s, 1940s sort of depression-y kind of clothes.
Yep.
But when we got to this little row of graves where this girl had been seen skipping down into, she'd completely vanished. But at the end of the row of graves, there was a grave for a little girl who died around the age of 10, and she died in the 1940s. So
Wow.
it's very, very unusual again. So
That's pretty amazing, hey? I mean, I've always been the experience that some, not some cemeteries are, what's the word? Very quiet. You know what I mean? And and you get the other ones that are very active. And I've always wondered, why is that the case? You get some cemeteries, man, and nothing happens ever.
yeah,
But you get these small little cemeteries, and it's like Spook Central.
it is. So
There's always okay.
I mean,
What's
especially
your
like-
theory on that, mate? Because I'm curious to see what you think.
I don't know. I mean, the hugging one, and having that aroma smell and also an EVP, definitely points to something that's interactive and intelligent and wanting to interact and let itself be known. But I mean, even as far as the little girl is concerned, from the whole concept of what they term, the stone tape recording or the recorded ghost or residual kind of ghost, where it's just history repeating itself, it could very possibly be that. It may not have been the little girl who's buried there, but I mean, definitely around this area there's a lot of history, a lot of pioneering history sort of around sort of the Kenmore area right out through Brookfield and Pullen Vale. So but I don't know, it's sort of whether or not it tends to be that there have been a lot of emotions that have been shared and given out by the people who have visited that cemetery. And generally I think with a lot of the smaller cemeteries too, because in the smaller communities they tend to sort of mourn a lot more and visit the graves of their loved ones, whereas you don't see that nearly as much in the bigger cemeteries in the larger cities. It might just be that the stones and the trees and the grass are all absorbing that energy over time and replaying. And
Well, it's interesting, because listen, I've just got a bit of a ghost story for you guys. Now, a couple of nights ago, I just posted on, what was your ghost story? What was your personal paranormal experience, or your best one? Alice Blacks writes on the Facebook page. This is quite a good story, actually. I just was reading it before.
Yep.
Well, one time my boyfriend at the time, my husband now, and myself were parked in very late one night at a very dark and very deserted rugby league ground at, is that Purtell?
Yep.
Yeah, Purtell Park. Shenanigans. No, that's all right. We're all young ones. Park at base at Mount Cootha. We were parked on a slight uphill slope, and after we were there for maybe an hour or so, the car started moving forward, then backward. repeatedly, just like someone was trying to push the car forward. The car was moving up the slope, then back as to where it was before several times. Well, that would freak me out to start off with.
Yeah,
The car
I mean-
started moving on its own. We were certain a couple of kids were just trying to scare us. My husband got immediately out of the car to chase them away. But when he stepped outside, there was no one to be seen. Not a sound, nothing. We were parked on gravel, so we could have clearly heard someone running away, but there was nothing but an eerie silence. Needless to say, we hightailed out of there quick smart and never went parking again. That would ruin any romance.
It would. That would be the end of that, I'd say.
That seriously, I mean, look, we've all done it. We've all parked up, as it were, you know, yeah. Bit of private time with the girlfriend back in our youth. And to have your car doing the actions for you.
Yeah. Rocking back and forth.
Forwards, that sucks, yeah. This was a new term if it's a rocking, yeah. I've also got another one here from, of course, David Snow, big fan. Yeah, he came out to the show the other day and he wrote a story into us. This is from David Snow. He writes, the old timber mill shed up on top of the mountain, not far from where I live. Up the ceiling height, an old gantry still sits. All of a sudden, there was this banging noise started coming from the gantry area. It was so loud we couldn't believe that it was happening. It was truly amazing. It has never happened since. I still investigate the place to this day. Well, he was talking about that out on the tour when I took him out, and this old shed was just banging like like really going to town,
Yeah.
but there was nothing there to cause it to do that. So that's a quite interesting one. I'll read out a couple more a bit later on, but just talking about tonight personal ghost stories and stuff like that. You know, people, I do get the odd email, and I do talk about it a little bit. Episode 28, if you haven't heard it, that's my whole family. We talk about, I grew up in a haunted house. I grew up, but I really didn't talk about a lot of the stories that happened. People got the basic gist of it, but not actually the in-depth stuff. What really sort of messed me up in a lot of ways as a kid. Now, I was a very shy child in a lot of ways. I had a very, very bad stutter. I still stutter today occasionally. I get caught every now and then where I can't get anything out. It's surprising I do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll never forget it. One night, we had a really, really bad storm in Gladstone. This is 80 Wood Street. This is the house that was just ridiculously stupid. I mean, with stuff going on all the time. Dad decided to take me out of my room. I was only, 6, 7 maybe, and he put me in the main lounge room because where I was, there was this big old window and tree. He's worried about the tree was going to come through the window and smash. It was cyclone season basically. Anyway, so I get put into the lounge room. I'm laying there, and I'm just watching. I was awake because Dad just moved me. So it took me because lightning flashes, the whole room would just light up.
Yeah.
I was in the main living area, so I was on a mattress on the floor, and I was just laying there and just watching the lightning dance across the room and stuff like that. And I just started to get tired, and I could hear the scraping noise coming behind me from the sofa, because we had the old timber sofa with the old timber legs and the old dodgy stuff. This is going back in the 70s. So I'm actually lying there on the mat. I hear the scraping and like a real deep rust, like a growl coming behind me. We didn't have a dog, and our cat didn't really make those noises. We had 2 cats, but it was like a really deep, gravelly, low grunt, really, I guess. Not a grunt. It was hard to explain. It was just weird. It wasn't something I'd heard before. Being a kid from the bush, you hear things, you know what I mean? But this was different anyway, and I was just laying there and I was petrified. And this carried on for what seemed like forever. It could only have been a couple of minutes before it built up the courage. And I end up rolling over, sort of very gingerly sort of rolled over and had a look. And all I could make out was this thing sitting on the arm of the chair. And then there'd be a lightning flash, and the room would light up. And to this day, you can't forget something like this.
Yeah.
It was haunched, sitting on the arm of the chair. It wasn't very big, put it this way. It had massive hairy feet and looked like claws. And it was just perched like a gargoyle was perched on, the statues
Yeah,
like that. It was that sort of perch. It was just sitting there. It wasn't big at all, but it was, very hairy, and you couldn't really see its face. But what I could see, it was pretty messed up, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And I froze. I was even trying not to breathe. Anyway, next minute, it must have known as I was watching or seen me, I was there. And the last thing I remember is this thing coming straight at me.
Bloody hell.
And that's it. And that's all I remember. And then I was like, then it was gone. So if you know what I mean, it was like, it come at me and I was awake, and then bang, it wasn't there anymore.
Yep.
I screamed the house down. Absolutely screamed.
As you would, even if you were an adult.
Oh God! It gave me such a fright. I brought the house down. Anyway, Mum and Dad come running out down the hall from their room, and I was inconsolable. I didn't want to sleep back there. I want to go and sleep between them two. I was scared out of my brain. Dad said, "Oh, you're just dreaming. It's just a lightning and stuff like that." We knew stuff was going on in the house, but they wouldn't expect anything like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they end up picking me up, and I end up keeping them awake all night because I was just scared shitless. The weirdest thing was the next day we found scratch marks all over the arm of the chair.
No.
I kid you not. There was actually little, like, claw marks on the edge of the timber part of the chair.
Yep.
That weren't there. So, what the? How do you explain that? It was the weirdest thing, and this really, I won't lie, it messed me up for ages.
Yeah,
I
something like that would. It's a terrible experience.
It was a terrible experience for a kid to go through. I don't know what it was. I'm not going to say it was demonic or anything like that, because I don't know, and that's why I do what I do. But I had another funny experience in that house as a kid, and I seem to cop a lot. Because I guess if people know me, they know the fact that I am au fait, as I call it. I don't call it psychic or sense. I don't call it that because I believe I'm not. I believe
Just
I'm
far more receptive to those kind of things.
far more receptive. I tend to notice stuff probably more than I really want to, but that's just runs in the family. It's just that from Mum's side and from Dad's side, who are very much that way, I got both barrels. So I don't know whether that was the cause or reason why. I guess that's why I started doing readings later on in life, because I could pick up on things. I'd get that imagery or flashes or stuff because I was so used to it.
Yep.
But what happened was, there was one night I was laying in bed, and this was pretty early, late at night, early morning type thing, and I was not a very social kid in that sense, because of the weird stuff that would go on in the house. One night I had, people are going to think I'm absolute Fruit Loop when I have to tell this one. One night I was laying in bed. Next minute, these two bright green lights coming through the window. Balls of light. Bright green. Never forget it.
Yeah.
They actually come into the room through the shut window.
So through the
I
glass.
see them outside, because where my bed was, I could see the friggin' window. Saw them come in, go towards the bed, and looks like they went under the sheets. And I actually could see the glow under the sheets near my feet, and the thing go up. So I'm watching. Do you need to take that phone call? Is it a phone?
Yeah.
Take your phone call.
No, it's gone now.
See, we're doing this in the car, so we're just doing everything. We're having our little chat in the car. But so I had these two lights, seemed like go underneath me blanket, and I could see the glow as they worked their way along the bed underneath the sheets and up around me and stuff like that, either side, and then they sort of come down off on the floor and back out the window. I was about 12 when that happened. I wasn't a little kid. Yeah, it was one of those. So
That's serious mojo going on at that house.
oh, mate, and this is the stories. Man, you answer it.
No, it's just message, mate.
Oh, cool.
So-
Yeah, that's right. It's in there more places. Don't listen to my wonderful spooky stories.
I am. I'm
You wanna hear
trying
some more?
Listen. Yeah. go
Oh,
for your
oh,
life.
fuck. Oh, shit, dude. I've got some beauties. We used to, Mum and Dad have actually talked about this on the show itself as well. My dad's nana, or my great grandmother or something, she was staying with us, right? And I remember my sister was really ill as a kid, and she would, because Dad was a shift worker and Mum worked night, so she would look after us, and it was the way it was back then, so Nana would look after us. And Nana passed away, she was quite old when she looked after us, and when she passed away, it was quite often where my bed was situated. I'd look up the hallway of this old 50s housing commission house it
Yep.
was, and there'd be this figure walking down, like a
Coming
mist
down
figure,
the hallway.
not a shadow figure, not black, a mist figure with legs. There was actually a shape to it. Be like walking down the hall and turn in my sister's room. Then walk out again and go back up the hall and disappear. This is the type of crap
Yeah.
that I
What's going on?
I mean, I can go into the simple fact that we had, I talked about the old black and white TV we had, the push-pull.
Yep.
Click on, click off. Physically click on, click off. You actually hear the taps turning themselves on. The taps turn. So I was being babysit by neighbours one day, and I was a young bloke. Mum and Dad are at work, and what appeared, I was just outside on the neighbour's veranda, because they're old style housing commission houses. The houses were like fairly close. I'm standing outside just mucking around, and next minute I see the side door open, then close. Open up and close. That was it. I had enough.
Yep.
I ran down the backyard, grabbed the biggest stick I could find. I don't know what I was going to do. I grabbed Litter, who was looking after us, dragged her across to the house, and I'm walking through the house with this big, massive stick in my hand, ready to start swinging. Yeah, I guess that's why, I don't know, I get very upset with, because I experienced so much as a kid, I get very upset with people who bullshit their way through this field.
Yeah.
If you know, I only know probably 2 or 3 mediums or psychics that I would say, they know what they're doing.
Yep.
If you know what I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. I can't be read. That's the problem. I cannot be read. There's too much happening. You know what I mean? There's too much. They probably don't want to find out about you as a young bloke. But I mean, that was just the start. That was my early life, dealing with friggin' things that would just jump out at me, having what you'd call poltergeist activity all through the house. But this is my parents went through this.
Yeah. So it's not just you in isolation. It's
No,
everyone that
it's
was living with
everyone
you
who
at
was living in the house. And it's like my grandfather. Before he died, he was staying with us, walking up the friggin' into Mum and Dad's bedroom and just standing there, and Mum woke up. She actually told the story. Woke up and said, "Well, what's wrong, Dad?" He said nothing and just disappeared. But Granddad was in the next bed. It was like his
almost astral travel.
and Granddad passed away a week or so later. It was that whole thing. I never forget. It's followed us everywhere. It still affects my parents today. It still affects my sister today. It's still the stuff we've seen. There's this woman at Mum and Dad's house. The house had been in. We never lived there before. Me and Kylie never stayed. We were all adults.
Yeah.
When they moved there, it's not our house. You had you grew up in the family home and you still got your bedroom. No, it wasn't that way for us. It was this whole they have this. I've seen it once where you see this figure of a woman walk past the kitchen window. And when you go, there's no one there. You know what I mean? We have me and my dad both saw grandma walk past the back window.
Yeah.
We had the thin curtains on. We saw her physically walk where she used to go and smoke. She'd been dead for 2 years. We both saw her.
Yeah.
How do you explain that in our family? You know, how do I explain the fact that, and this is, I'm putting everything out there tonight on the show. I'm putting myself out there in that sense.
Yep.
I know I have a lot of fun and I joke around with it, and I'm being called everything from odd, strange to eccentric. Yeah, I am all those things, but wouldn't you be?
Yeah, after experiences like that, and and I think that it really does separate a lot of people who are in the field as well. I mean, there are a handful of people who have had full-on experiences from and a lot of them from quite young, which is the key reason they get into the field. Whereas it sort of separates them from a lot of people who just have a generic sort of interest in the paranormal and don't take things a great much seriously, or don't take them as seriously as they should.
Have you got a lighter, dude? So I was sitting in the car with a cigarette. But that's the thing, mate. It's one of those. It's always. I've always had a fascination for it, because I've always wanted to know why these things affected my family. Why these things, and you wouldn't think that, whether I've got a screw loose or not, I don't know. But, and I'll be upfront and honest about it. It's as a young bloke, I struggled with all the crap.
Yep.
My sister, not so much, but my sister's had some horrific events happen. We were living in another house. We moved around a lot because it was basically for Dad's work, and situations change, and we had to get out a few places. We were just getting hammered with all sorts of weird crap. I could write a book on this stuff, mate, and it scared most people. My sister I'll never forget the story she told me. I never experienced it, but she did. She was coming home late one night from the nightclubs. When we were living in Gladstone, Mum and Dad had this 4-story house. One level was complete granny unit.
Yep.
So they had the upstairs was all the bedrooms, down one was the kitchen lounge, and down was this granny flat, and down again was the carport. My sister's coming through the front door, and you've got this big stairwell going down, and she's walking along, and she's heading down towards her room, where her and her fiance at the time were living. And there's this woman standing there in 1920s clothes, but looks like she was drowning. You know how she looked wet, and she was like trying to scream for help, and she was sitting at the bottom of the stairs just screaming at Kylie, but no sound was coming out. My sister gave a very accurate, detailed encounter of what happened. That's just freaky ass shit, dude.
That's the kind of thing that makes you not want to live there full stop ever again.
So every place we've lived in has had, even the house we're in now, funny stuff's going on, and my wife, she doesn't handle it well as I do, but that's why I guess I put humour into what I do.
Yeah.
If that's my coping mechanism with dealing with all the weird shit that goes on a daily basis with me. I had this one woman. She was a customer of all things. I was walking through the office. This is another job I had. And I walked past, and you have like the table set and a customer sit with the salesperson. And she's watching me the whole time as I'm walking through. Just with sheer terror on her face. Absolutely. And I'm thinking, oh God, am I that hideous? And she's just staring at me. I'm going, oh crap, like this. And I realised what was going on. She actually come to me after. She says, oh, I've got to speak to that young man type thing. And she left the sale, and she come over to where I was. She says, you have a ghost walking behind you, and they're not happy. I went, oh, you picked up on it, did you?
Yeah.
She says, I said, I thought you were looking at me funny, and it was quite weird, the conversation. She gave me a full description of what this thing looked like. And she said, every time I walk past a window, a reflection would be behind me. No one could see it, but except it was like a reflection behind me of a person, haunched over and just tailing me about a foot behind.
Yep.
Everywhere I went, and it wasn't me. I was wearing a different coloured shirt and everything, but she told me this. And because I guess I'm au fait, and that's what I call it. I knew that some people have attachments, some don't. I pick it up, it goes, but it's really weird how a total stranger
has tapped into it and noticed
and
it as well.
gone, what the hell? And she was scared. She said she really didn't want to come and talk to me to start with, but she didn't know if I knew.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, which was really, really odd. So I've had interesting encounters like that. I had when I was living in New Zealand. That was a terrible place. Not New Zealand. I love New Zealand. The house was. I've always said, people who walk in the house know if the house is good or not. Gut feeling tells you. Go in there. Yeah, this feels good. This feels. I walked into this house we bought. It felt wonderful. It was so warm and cozy, and this is where I want to live. I felt comfortable there. That lasted a week after we moved in. I'm laying in bed. This is only a few years ago. I'm laying in bed. And I just happened to look up, and there's this figure of a Maori warrior standing there, but only half of him, the top half, just staring at me in the bed. And I'm going, see, by this stage, I'm used to that. You know what I mean? So I'd wake up, see someone standing there, I go, oh yeah, I'll go back to sleep. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm watching him, and I'm sort of looking, and then he just sort of looks away, and he sort of floats away at the same time, sort of goes upwards. It's like he goes up and just disappears. One of the scariest experiences I had in that house, and to this day, it ranks pretty close to that other thing I talked about as a kid.
Yep.
Totally different. I'm facing the wife, we're sort of facing each other, type thing, sound asleep, and I felt someone watching me. You know how you get that feeling someone's watching you?
Yep.
So I roll, it's probably someone, I'm thinking, oh yes, another visitor. So I roll over and have a look, and it's this thing standing bed height, like mattress high off the ground. I'm face to face with it. It was bright yellow, had square eyes. It had like rectangle slots and round, but black.
Yeah.
That sort of figure, it was yellow. It was just a face, and the neck and shoulder was very well detailed. And I got such a fright seeing that. I reversed backwards so quickly, I nearly knocked Raylene out of the bed. Seriously, I actually
collided into
it. I'm thinking, and then it was gone. Then it disappeared. So to this day, I have not been able to work out what it is. Now, people probably listen to this going now, okay, I think I'll switch off and never listen to the zombie again. But, I mean, that's fine, but people want to know. People want to know why my humour is the way it is. I get a lot of emails from people saying, you don't take the field seriously, you don't, you're always joking around this, but they still listen to the show.
Yeah.
But I guess they got to know the reasons why I joke around. Everyone deals with it differently. I use humour as a way of dealing with the paranormal because every day.
Yeah.
Something happens.
Something new every day.
It's not something new. It could be the same thing repeating itself every day. I'll never forget this. I was working at another forklift company, and my old boss will vouch for this. I'm walking through the workshop, and he sees me sidestep like I was going around someone. Then I kept walking, and I was doing something. I came back. He says, "You been drinking?" I said, I don't drink. Like this. He says, "I just saw you sidestep somebody, and no one was there." I went, "Did you see that?" He said, "Yeah. What's going on, Brad?" And what do? You tell him, "Well, yeah, someone was standing there in my way, and I was going around it, but it was someone that wasn't there." You know what I mean? It was that. It's like the time that I was working in New Zealand, and I was telling you a story about the old Wellington Cemetery.
Yep.
And where Rylock was, there's this big, there was like a car park, not very big car park. Then there was the Wellington Cemetery. That's the reason why I worked there. I mean, because the cemetery was right behind the building. The oldest cemetery in Wellington was the old Wellington, colonial cemetery. I used to go and have lunch. A beautiful, so beautiful place. Anyway, I'm there one day and I'm checking stock that's come in because we used to build doors and everything. And you have an engineering background. I used to make sure I was production manager. Anyway, I'm working away and I see this, and where it is, there's one way in, one way out. That's it. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's like you go up the drive, there's the back of our building, big fence all the way around, and the cemetery wall, which is about 6 feet high. You know, like a wall, and then stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going, oh crap, all right. So this old guy, I see him, I go, oh, g'day mate, how you doing? And I get a nod. You know, like this old guy just shuffling along behind him. You know, I thought, that was on you, what's he doing here? You know, I'd put my head down for about 2 seconds. Then I looked up and went, oh, this is a visual, folks. So I'm looking around like this going, oh, where the hell did he? There's no, you know. Then it twigs and you went, oh, shit, not again. Yeah, type thing. So I remember when I used to do readings quite regularly, it got to the point I had to stop because I thought by doing readings for people, it'll let me use what I had.
Yep.
If you know what I mean, and control it more. Because it gets to a stage with me, it just gets too overwhelming. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I started doing readings again. But this was about 12 months ago. And I was pretty bloody good. You know, I was pretty friggin' accurate. And I do them the same way I talk to you now.
Yep.
And I'm not, you won't see me, you know, your spirit guide or your totem guide. It's none of that crap.
Yeah, well, the usual typical act and...
No, there isn't, because I'll talk to you like I'm talking to you now. It's very factual, yada yada yada. There's no, oh, your spirit guide is Rhonda the horse and all this other shit. No, I won't do that to people, because that's part of the showmanship side of it.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm doing this reading for this lady, and the next door, didn't know the next door neighbour from Borough Soap. I'm sitting in my office where I used to do it. I had a lounge suite set up, and next to me there's this bloke standing at the friggin' window, outside the window. So I'm trying to get this lady a reading, and there's this bloke standing there. I'm sort of looking at him, and she says, "What are you looking at?" I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll just ignore it. Don't think I'll concentrate on you." And he's like looking at me, trying to get my attention. And I said, "Look, I'm going to have to stop. Can you give me 5 minutes?" She said, "Yeah, that's fine." So I said, "Look, I need you to step out of the office." So she left for a couple of minutes, and the gist of it was, this was the guy's father from next door, and there was a lot of conflicting issues when he died.
Yep.
And basically it was, he wanted me to go and tell him something, and I copped that a lot. I cop a lot of that. Oh, well, I need you to tell such a... I can't do that. I'm not the ghost whisperer.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm very uncomfortable even talking about this. You know, people who know me and know me like you do, you know what I used to do.
Yep.
And there are still friends out who go listen to the show, and I go, I didn't know you used to do that. I kept it very well hidden. But, you know, you look at, you know, a lot of people who do listen to the show I've done stuff for in the past, they know exactly what I'm like, because I've helped them out do the same thing. So, you know, it's always been an issue for me, that side of the family tree. Believe me or not, I don't care. You know, I couldn't give a rat's ass. It doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't give a rat's ass. You believe me, I don't care. If you don't, I don't care. But I know what I go through, and that's why I am the way I am.
Yeah, and yeah, because you've lived it and experienced it.
It's not a TV show to me, in that sense. You know what I mean? It's not a...
Yeah, it's not the next sort of reality TV
It's
show.
not the next reality show. Oh, it's a funny story, this. One of the ladies I did a reading for, remember the One was on?
Yep.
She put my name in for it, and I didn't know. And so I get stuck in these emails from the production company of the One. Brad, we want you to audition for the One. No. I was not interested at all. No friggin' way on earth. I mean, this is the thing. It's like, yeah, it's... I don't want to go down the theatrical road.
Yeah, and I mean...
It's the theatrics. It's friggin'...
It's absolute theatrics, and I don't know, I'm sure...
It's called editing.
Yeah, I can see what the TV station was trying to do with shows like that, and, you know, there were a few of them, you know, some years ago, and I think they gave the One another bit of a run only fairly recently. But yeah, to a great extent, I think it glorifies and cheapens, the whole field as well.
It
For
does.
the people, the handful of people who are very receptive to that, and do try and make a difference in other people's lives. But it turns it into sort of like the psychic game show, and I mean it's not what it's all about.
Yeah, and I got at least 3 or 4 emails from them saying, we want you to be a part of this, yada yada yada, want you to audition. And I just kept saying, look, thank you for the offer, but no thanks, I'm not interested. I don't want to be. I have nothing against psychics or mediums, trust me. I'm against the people who pull themselves off to be that and they're not.
Yeah.
That charge people a shitload of money for just because they're good at friggin' cold reading someone, like watching for little fishing for information.
And watching body language and picking up on just
Because some people are very intuitive. They can pick up on that stuff and they just go off the body language. I never forget one night. I used to do believe it or not, folks, I used to do friggin' parties. A friend of mine got me roped into it. They had it like a hen's night, girls' night, like chook's night, like they call it. And I was asked would I be interested in doing readings for about 10 different people. I went, oh yeah, no worries. So I went and did it. And I'm sitting there giving this lady a reading, and it's quite odd. And I'm sitting there talking. I said, I don't know what it is with you. I said to her, feels like it's with your husband, but you got these big arms wrapped around you. You can't go, but he's not alive or dead. You know what I mean? Something's holding you back.
Yeah.
It's like he's not alive, he's not dead, and I couldn't put my finger on it. She says he's been in a coma for the last 6 months. He's alive via life support.
Yeah, so
he's been on life support because he's in that crossover period. And what the arms holding it back was the whole, he hasn't moved on, so she can't move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That whole thing, and I was picked up, and she was in tears. I'm thinking, I felt really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I was doing my job. I was doing what I was paid to do. And I gave her I said, listen, and I said, no, I'm not going to tell you her name, I can talk about it. I said, you've met somebody else, haven't you? And that she burst into tears again. Mate, I always take tissues with me when I do these readings, when I used to do them. She burst into tears. I said, this gentleman loves you dearly, doesn't he? She said, yeah, he does. But I can't walk away from my husband. I said, that's fine. I said, his time, he's just about ready to go. Yeah, and I got a phone call. Well, I actually got an email about 3 weeks later. Her husband had passed. They end up being on that life support for so long, and they just couldn't.
Yeah, couldn't sustain it any longer.
No, they could if they. You can keep someone, but it wasn't fair on him because his brain was slowly dying. The brain signals or something weren't. They were starting to fade, so it was So they had pulled the plug, and he lasted another couple of days after that, so to speak, and he moved on. And it's weird, and so she started up a new life with her. And now on Thursday night, I'm going to let Judy. I gave Judy a reading 12 months ago, and she rang me back. If you heard the last night's show, you would have heard the phone ring, and I stopped the show and I was spoken to her. You were there. You were sitting right next to me. I'm going to let her tell you what it was like without me around. I'll just go away and you can talk to her and see what was Brad's reading like, because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I want to keep well away from it, and I won't know till after I put the show up. Now what she said, because I don't want to.
Yeah, don't want to know anything beforehand.
I don't want to know anything beforehand. Now, like I said, I might have totally stuffed this up tomorrow night, on Thursday night. I may be wrong. I don't know, but this is the part of the paranormal that's been very close to my chest for as long as I can remember. A lot of people know what I do, and I still have people ring me today. Still want me to do it. I can leave work tomorrow and do this full time and be busy. And it's not just is not just with locals. I was doing them I had people ringing from the States. I had, word gets around quick. If you're good at what you do and you're honest about what you do, you don't bullshit people on what you do. And you think, I'll have fun with the people as well. If there's a funny circumstance, I had this one. Sorry, mate, I'm not letting you get a word in edgeways.
It's fantastic stories.
I had this one lady, a friend of mine's mum. She wanted to bring her along. Now I didn't know anything in the past, and I said to her, now her first husband died, and then she remarried, and she was married to this guy for a long time, and then he passed away. And I was sitting there talking to her about it, and I said, look, I knew that much. I didn't know him from a bar of soap.
Yeah.
Next one going, your first husband was killed at work, wasn't he? Yes. Forklift accident, wasn't it? She said, yes. Yeah, you could see the eyes stutter. I said, yeah, don't cry just yet. I said, he's sitting right next to you, but the problem is your other husband's sitting on the other side. And they were arguing. It's like, and they were having a full-on disagreement. I'm trying to get these two blokes. I know, look, sounds weird, folks. I'm sorry about this. It just sounds... You gotta think, my God, Brad is an absolute freak. Yeah, I am in a lot of ways, but I'm happy with that. So they're sitting having an argument with each other. She's sitting sort of there, and I'm going, I'm trying to sort of work out, because her first husband was Russian. So a lot of what he was saying is Russian, and it was like broken English.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to decipher it, but I know he wasn't happy with the other guy for some reason. I couldn't work out why, and they were sort of backwards and throwing. And I said, he keeps mentioning a blue station wagon. All I can get out of him is what happened to my blue station wagon, but in between Russia, I'm going, from what I can gather, it's a little blue, like a Gemini, like a 76 model. You know those Gemini blue.
Sort of
and he
bubbly.
keeps saying Bluey. There's a station called Bluey. Then she bursts into tears. He wants to know what's happened to his blue station wagon, because sometimes when they're passed, you don't know. Time means nothing, if you know what I mean. Anyway, and it turns out he had a blue Gemini station wagon he nicknamed Bluey. That was his pride and joy, but she had to sell it shortly after her husband passed, and they're killed in the accident because she needed money.
Yeah.
And this other guy stepped in and raised the 3 girls and stuff like that. And it's quite funny how it's sort of like they were still arguing the whole friggin' time, because the first husband was very manly man. You know, like this guy was rough as, he was like a man's man. He was, and the other guy was very soft and caring and gentle. And then I basically said, look, both you shut up, because there was too much going on, if you type thing. And she said, look, no, I said, not you, just getting them. And it sort of ended up being like a mediator service between the 3 of them. And it was just the weirdest thing, because unfortunately when someone's about to come over or do a reading, they're usually there. Yeah, I mean, the people know, and they come, and it's like the weirdest. It's such a weird thing for me to do that and do it constantly and constantly deal with certain things that sometimes I don't want to deal with. You're getting out of the car pretty quick, buddy. Well, that's basically my story anyway. But my mum's very sensitive. My grandmother was one of Australia's best-known psychics of the day. Yeah, so it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not something I've wanted. I call it the curse. A lot of my friends who do know what I do, I call it the curse, and they say, "Oh, I wish I could do what you do." I said, "No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah, don't want the burden." And
I'm not Derek Accord. I'm not. What's that other idiot who gets up on
John Edwards.
John Edwards. I'm not him. I'm none of them. I'm nothing like them. In that sense, I'm not the showman.
Yeah.
I'm a showman doing the radio show and having fun with my guests and my friends and everything, but not. You know what I mean?
Not in that
I'm
sense.
not going to get up on stage and go, and I've been asked to do it. Oh, there's someone with the first name starting with S, and you get all these people, oh, my name starts with an S. I think you have about 20 of them. I won't do that. That's just friggin'.
But I mean, you see that so often too. A lot of the big name psychics that you see on television shows, like John Edwards and Derek Acora and quite a number of others, but they're all now earning big bucks. You know, they'll do their shows in Las Vegas and
Yeah.
you know their stage shows. But I mean, that's the thing. You know, and there are a lot of even sleight of hand magicians and you know who do form read and do that cold reading.
Yeah.
But I mean, at various stages too, when they were starting into it, they were posing as psychics. But obviously to sort of do, the big stage shows, there's more money involved. So they they purely build off that that showmanship and being up on stage. So
I mean, that's the thing. I've always found it. I've always had conflicts with it, if you know what I mean, mate. I've always had that issue of, because of the experience I've had and dealt with in the paranormal field, and I use my humour and what I've been told, my larrikin attitude about it.
yeah,
That the show was different because of that. And it's a funny story. I was still on the paranormal panel. You know the paranormal. You've been on the you've been a paranormal panel, 4BC, and I can honestly say I'm the only guy that's ever been banned from there for life. 4BC, they had, because I was doing the TV series at the time, and I was there as the ghost expert, as it were, and they had the UFO guy, they had the skeptic, and they had the psychic, and the psychic's, my God, is he friggin' useless. Dude, he's about as psychic as my left nut. He, I'm not going to mention his name because I'm not going to give him the recognition. Anyway, he passed me a note during the show and said, you suffered from a religious traumatic experience 5 years ago like this. And I went, and on live on it, I said, what's this rubbish? He says, I was going to keep it private. I said, I wasn't going to keep this private. You're just using it as a friggin'... I said, mate, A, I'm not religious. B, I haven't had any sort of friggin' religious breakdown or anything like. You're wrong. I said, and I know for the fact you rip people off.
yeah,
You claim to be a very good psychic, and yet I know you've got no ability whatsoever. You're just very good at reading people, cold reading people, and getting information out of them. Oh, I think that was on. And then the skeptic started at him. I said, no, this isn't your battle, mate.
yeah,
This has nothing to do with you. And if you want, and then I started on him. You know what I mean? And, and I was like just ripping into these two guys, calling one out for being a fraud and the other one for just being a wanker. And so basically, because the show was live, that was the last time I ever did it. I got asked not to come back.
arguably probably the best paranormal panel.
I
ever.
got a lot of emails after that from people because I was doing the zombie back then too. I just started the zombie.
Yep.
And I was getting all these freaking emails from people who listened and tracked me down and say how much they enjoyed it and how it's a shame I won't be on back. Because they actually said on there, no, Brad won't be coming back, something like that. And I just laughed. I said, yeah, I don't care. And I thought, no, bugger it. This is the thing, like I said, I know 2 or 3 in Brisbane that I would recommend to go to. That's it. And I've met a lot here in Brisbane.
Well,
but I don't tell them what I can do.
Yeah, it's the very big divide between people who will come straight up to you and tell you that, they will actually tell you that they're a psychic.
And the ones
and
that
the ones
don't.
that never say a word.
Are the ones that...
a very big divide. The ones who will come up and brag to you straight up that they're a psychic have, generally will have no ability whatsoever, but it's the quiet ones who just do it in their own time.
Well, there's one lady, Kelly. You know Kelly.
Yeah.
Great mate of mine. She's a 5th generation psychics. Very good, very very good. She's never read me, but I've read her.
Yeah.
And I think she was pretty much blown away, if you know what I mean. And she'll vouch for that. I don't know, but she is one that she's good. She has that ability and gift to do it. I've met others who made all the song and dance, said, I can do readings and all this other stuff, and I go, okay, go. Oh, what do you mean? Well, you reckon you want? Go. You should be able to do it then and there.
Yeah, I don't have the lucky undies on.
Don't I can't, or you're blocking me now with your aggression. And I said, no, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I've had people sit their arms folded, legs crossed. Don't worry me.
Yeah.
like I'm going to do one on you right now. You're shorter than me.
Yes, spot on.
Oh, amazing, aren't I?
Look at that.
But you know what I mean? It's I won't do friends.
Yep.
I won't read friends or people I know because it's I know too much about them. If I don't like you, there's a reason I don't like you. That's it.
Yep.
There is a reason. I know what you've done. And I will refuse to have anything to do with you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the thing. So I walk past someone in the street and I get that hairs on my neck stand up on end, the alarm bells are ringing, so to speak, and I look at this person and go, you sick bastard. I know what you've done. You know, type thing.
Yeah.
You know, but what can you do? You can't prove any of it, can you? You know, you can't go, oh, Mr. Police, this guy fiddles with kitties, type thing. Where's the proof?
Yep.
So there's a lot of people that I deal with that I don't want to deal with. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is with me. You know, you just know, man. It's friggin' horrible. I wish I didn't have that. I wish I could just switch off.
Yeah.
I can, to a degree. But, no. And I guess why zombie is an outlet for me as well. It gives me a chance to talk about the field I love.
Yeah.
You love the field.
Love it, love it.
That's the thing. I love the field. I am passionate about the field. I'm passionate about the people who work in the field. I may not agree with everybody and the way they go about doing things, but in saying that, they have every right to do what they do.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing too is just keeping an open mind. I mean, everybody does do things a different way, and some people that that I think I disagree with the way that they do things, but I accept the fact that that's the way they do them. But at the same time too, if I come across a group that's doing something or a person who's doing something and I think, geez, I never thought of that before, and I think that's it. Everyone does everything differently, but it's about whether you keep an open mind and you're willing to modify what you're doing and take everything on board. Rather than a lot of people who are very closed-minded who, to hell with everybody. Anyone who doesn't do it the exact way that I do it because you're wrong, because you don't do it my way.
So people who listen to the show tonight now are going to know a bit more about me and what I've dealt with and how I've handled things, and then some of them probably won't like it about me now. But at the end of the day, my friends won't care.
Yep, precisely.
My friends won't give a rat's ass. My true friends will not judge me on that. They will accept me for Brad because nothing changes. I'm still Brad. I'm still the guy who carries on like an idiot half the time doing the show, but I get out there and do things. I get out there and have fun with people. I don't expect anything from anybody. I just love the fact that we have such a great audience and people all over the world who just enjoy what we do. And we have fun with them. We have fun with people.
Yep.
It shouldn't be all about the seriousness all the time. It should be about the history. It should be about people's perception and people's ideals and what they believe. It should never be about one person's viewpoint.
Yeah.
What a boring world that would be.
Yeah, and that's
what communism is for, man.
Yeah, and I think the field does at times. It does get too serious, and people take the whole thing far too seriously. But you got to have a breather from time to time, and you've got to have a bit of a laugh about about certain experiences that you have. And I mean, if you don't enjoy it, well, what's the point in doing it?
That's right. Well, we're going to take a bit of a break here because we've been talking non-stop for an hour. And I'll stop this recording so I can charge the batteries back up. And we'll be back shortly with more of The Naked Zombie and Brad's Deep Dark Secrets. Right, and we are back with part 2 of Brad and Liam sit in a car getting all Brokeback Mountain-ish. Oh, Liam, you look so run there tonight. Actually, the lady behind us, I think she was making her a bit. I'll just bring this up close to my mouth so I can whisper in it. The lady behind us, or next to us, is actually I think she's ears dropping in on our stories. What do you think?
I think she might be.
Yeah, now we've got the windows down. Oh, no, she's looking over. She's looking at me. She's looking at me. She's looking at me. And she's turned around now. She's turned away. She has turned away from the zombie mobile. She is now running. She is now running away from the local vicinity.
Probably going to write weird things I've seen in the soccer car park.
Yeah, soccer car park. Two guys sitting in a Golf Falcon talking about weird shit, and she's getting all. Anyway, so we're whispering at the moment because I think she's actually listening to us because we've been talking quite loud tonight because we're doing it. Actually, we're recording this with my iPod and a little speaker microphone system I've got because we're out and about. She's kind of hot, isn't she? Not really. I'm kidding. Right. So that was it. That was our little. Now you said before they're your smokes. You said before that you're going to do like an intro, like Ghost Adventures intro.
I think we should.
I'll let you do it because I really don't watch Ghost Adventures. Seth, you better give me a lighter first.
Yeah, something along the lines of taking our mobile recording equipment across southeast Queensland and recording our naked zombie adventures.
Well, okay, so you've got it worked out. So if I pick this up and hand it to you so it sounds a bit clearer, do it. You got to hold it. Do it.
You put me on the spot now.
That's all right. The people know we're going to do it because it's part of the show. So, ready? What music do they have playing in the background?
I can't remember now.
What's it?
That's horrible. I haven't watched Ghost Adventures for a few weeks
hang
now.
on, let me think of something. I'll do the music.
Not very ghosty.
Oh, hang on. What can I?
That's a bit better.
That's too chirpy, isn't it?
That's very elevated music, man.
You're meant to be speaking as I'm doing it.
I'm just fascinated by the repertoire of music that you're coming out with.
On the mouse. Hang on. Yeah. Your man went through it. Okay. Right, just.
I was going to say you should do it. You're the voiceover man.
Alright, I'll do it. Alright, sorry folks about this. I'm trying to get him to do the intro. Right, I'll do the voiceover. 2 men, 1 car, making the way across southeast Queensland, forever searching for that mysterious and ominous sign of the supernatural. Join Brad Scott and Liam Buck as we embark on a major trip across the country, armed with an iPod and a voice recorder, bringing you stories of the bizarre, strange, and slightly naughty. How's that?
That works.
That works? Okay, we're back to the show now.
Copyright that.
Copyright, you can't own it, we own it. You know, so we're just sitting in the car. See, there's 2 people hiding in the bushes over there. The Sheila and the bloke. See that? See him sitting over there? Look, she'll disappear back in the bush. Watch.
I was going to say,
Look.
They're not doing a very good job of hiding in their high-vis vests.
No. High-vis vest gave it away. Shenanigans. So, okay, I've talked about all my weird ass shit, well, some of it. Let's hear some of yours.
Yeah, well, I wasn't blessed or cursed with the same experiences that you've had, through your childhood and
adulthood.
And adulthood,
and
right the way
grandpahood.
through. But I mean, as far as my introduction to the paranormal field, I guess, I ended up pretty much just getting into it probably about the age of 18 or 19, after having moved into a house, like very similarly to yours, where just everything was constantly happening, but not nearly to the sort of, the terrifying or malevolent extent. But we moved into a house, and at that stage, it was in a really, really old area of Indooroopilly, with quite a bit of history. It had, sort of right back, been a sort of big pastoral area, many decades ago, right the way through until become a fairly affluent suburb of Indooroopilly. And there was a house that was purchased. It was fairly old and run down, and we were given the opportunity to live in the house while it was being renovated, and it was sort of a fairly lengthy process of about 6 or 8 months worth of renovations. So we could stay there, and I was offered if I would help out with the renovations, it'd be dirt cheap rent while I was doing the work and was at university at the time. And nothing untoward seemed to happen in the house for pretty much the entire time through the renovations. There was never noticed anything bizarre until the renovations were finished. And pretty much the day that they were finished and the house was all looking spick and
Schmicko.
ready to live in, it's pretty much like somebody flicked a switch, and all of a sudden just started just little weird things at first. Things that go missing that you were sure you'd put on the bench, and you'd pull the entire living room apart and you'd pretty much give up.
Yeah.
You go and have a shower or something, you come back and sure enough, whatever you'd misplaced that you were sure was on the coffee table, and you'd searched everywhere, and you'd come back out and it was sitting back on the coffee table again. Just like really weird little things like that. Through until a couple of weeks later, when we had a spare room and it had been set up as just a guest room, and there was a stereo in there, and pretty much smack bang on midnight one night, the stereo turned itself on at full blast. And
nice.
no, we'd never sort of had the stereo on, it had just been plugged in. It definitely wasn't on full blast, but turned itself on at full blast. And I sat bolt upright in bed, thought, what the hell's that? And came bursting out of the bedroom. And the bedroom was at the end of a very long hall, and it was sort of almost like a weird sort of dormitory style house. It had this big long hall that ran pretty much the length of the house, and all the bedrooms ran off it. And as I came out of the bedroom, this person, and it was a black person, almost looked like a ninja, and it very well could have been given the way the story ended. But someone very solid and completely black came, sort of ducked out of the room into the hallway, realised that I was standing at the end of the hallway, having just come out the bedroom door, and took off up the hallway. So I immediately took off after the figure. And when you got towards the end of the hallway, it opened up into the living room. The kitchen was off to one side and had a big breakfast bar that ran along the sort of front of the kitchen that overlooked the living room. And this figure, as I sort of got towards the end of the hall, and it ran out through the hall, ran through the kitchen and dived, like almost SAS ninja style, over the top
Stealth
of the
ninja.
over the top of the breakfast bar. And I thought, well, I've got you now because you're in the living room, you've got nowhere left to go. And I ran round the side of the breakfast bar and there was nothing. But through that entire chase up the hallway, footsteps, everything, it's absolutely solid figure. And I stood there for about 10 minutes. I was dumbfounded. And that was sort of the really big, sort of one big event that really capped everything off. And then from then on, it was sort of no holds barred. We'd have so much stuff that would happen in the house, things constantly coming and going, to the point where we actually nicknamed the ghost Bob. Bob the Ghost, because we didn't...
That's a good name.
Yeah, it was a nice generic name.
Was it short for Kate?
No.
Just Bob. That's a
Bob.
That's a Blackadder joke. Don't worry about it. You wouldn't get it.
But and we had a number of experiences, and it got to the point where every second or third night we had all polished wood floorboards. The house was raised up, and right from the very end of the hall, from the bedroom door, so from the living room, it ran in a direct line down to the bedroom door, and probably would have been, almost 30 metres from the living room wall into the hallway and right down to the bedroom. And you'd hear, right at the very other wall, far end of the house, you'd thump, 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 thump. Like somebody in big heavy boots would start walking,
and
but
run.
then it just into an absolute sprint, and it would stop dead right at the bedroom door. And to the point where the first time I heard it, I thought someone's running down the hall and they're coming straight through this door. And every time it would stop right at the bedroom door, and it was like a bit of a, it was just playing games, and then you wouldn't hear it for 5 or 10 minutes, and then thump, 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 and it'd do it for an hour or 2 hours, every couple of nights.
God, it wasn't being bored.
Yeah.
Just trying to get a
But,
spark out of it.
and we still had, fairly regularly things going missing. But I think humanising it, giving it the name
The
Bob.
name is sort of you.
It
And
sort
people
of,
do that.
Bob
That's how
sort
they
of-
deal with it.
Yeah, he became sort of part of the family, and you
Yeah.
always knew that if something went missing, you'd be like, "That's it, Bob. Like, I know that you've taken it. I know I left it here. Like, I'm gonna go and do something. Go and watch TV for half an hour. When I come back, I want you to have put it back."
Yeah.
And every time, like clockwork, it would be back exactly where you knew you'd left it, but it hadn't been when you'd gone to gone to pick it up. And that was quite unusual, but there was a definite feeling in the house as well, that there was somebody else, there was another entity that was living there. And I mean, at that stage, that's what really piqued my interest, living in a house that was so active in the paranormal. So really got out and started investigating other places, and which in turn, having that spirit that was living in the house, there was a number of other exciting experiences too. And like you were talking about attachments and having doing a lot of investigations, going out to places that were renowned for having weird and wacky stuff going on. And every so often you would get the feeling that you'd had some kind of attachment and you brought something home. And Bob always seemed to be, he was the alarm.
Yeah, he was like
that
the
there
gatekeeper.
that there was still some attachment. And if you came home and you'd have that ominous feeling that something's not quite right. I think there's something that's followed us. You'd get home and all hell would break loose at home. There'd be noises and bangs and crashes, and it was like Bob was, he was saying, "Look, this is my turf.
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to be here." And it'd be like that for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then finally it'd stop. It'd just calm itself right off, like, sort of like two tomcats, like would go at it for 20 or 30 minutes until Bob had shuffled whatever it was off and gotten rid of it. And we lived in that house for going on, I think, nearly 3 years, and that was sort of my big catalyst that got me into it. But I mean, from getting into the field that way, like a number of other major experiences at places outside of my house, and just amazing places that we'd gotten into to have a look through. And at that stage there wasn't any other, like, we're talking sort of mid to late 90s, there really wasn't any other groups in Brisbane. The paranormal field wasn't like it is now, where you've got groups covering sort of all different areas. So at that stage it was something that people didn't really talk about that much in Brisbane. So for the most part it was fairly easy to get into a lot of these places. It was just have a quiet word with owners, and you could get right in because it was sort of a new and interesting field that no one had really ever thought of before. But I mean, ending up at places that would quite literally stand your hair on end. And probably I can probably name a handful of places that generally I don't get scared when I go out, even when there's heaps weird stuff going on. But a few places that have really made me crap my dacks, and one of them was out at Ipswich, in Challinor, the old mental asylum out there, and they've got
I know the place.
still got a big section of that. It's now been all completely renovated, except for this one building that's right up the back of the site that is named Blair Pavilion, and that was pretty much, it's this huge sandstone structure. It looks sort of almost convict like, and big bars on the windows and everything, and it was pretty much the lockdown for the criminally insane in this one big block. And I spent quite a couple of hours in that building one night, and I think my life's probably changed, whether for the better or the worse, I don't know. But being locked in there and seeing like these 2-inch thick wooden doors to all the cells, these big long corridors with all the cells running off them, and you go and sit inside the cell, and it's just, you could feel like something was just feeding. You feel your energy levels just plummeting through the floor,
and that's look, and that's what I think. Everyone is in some ways has some sort of ability, like gut feeling, call whatever it is. But I was engaged once before to this nice lass. We bought speaking of draining, we bought a brand new unit. It was just being built, just so we went and bought. You know, my mates were buying hot shit cars. I had like really nice cars. I had an old '54 Volkswagen Beetle, painted gold with a brush. So I bought a house. Bought this unit, and me and this girl were friends for years before we started going out, and we were really tight. You know, really, we were going to get married. 2 ways about it. We bought this unit, brand new, and this is why I call it the curse, because whatever was attached to me wrecked our relationship. Because we'd come down in the morning, or we'd go away for the weekend, and all our furniture had been moved.
Yeah.
Everything was moved. Like chairs were different locations, turned upside down. We come home went out one night, found the front door wide open. We locked everything, and it really, the whole energy in the unit was just vile. It was vile. You know what I mean? It wrecked our relationship. It wrecked us.
Yeah.
Because of who I was, and how it was affecting us, energy-wise, you know, in that sense, and it was draining her. It really was, where I was sort of used to it and sort of built up a pretty good resilience to it.
Yeah.
My wife, Raylene, at the moment, she knows what goes on, you know, with me and that side of things. She's a tough cookie, though. You know what I mean? You know it well. She is a tough cookie. You know, nothing phases her. She knows what I go through. She knows when things are going, you know, but she's been with me, 18, we married 18 years, in that sense, you know what I mean? So she's learnt to accept it, in that sense, and she knows this is my outlet. But I know when things are playing up, you know what I mean? I can see it, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, and I do stuff about it then, you know what I mean? Beforehand, in my first relationship, I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what to do. It was slowly consuming this other girl, because it was just pure, I wouldn't say evil, it just like misery.
Yeah.
You know, and it was making her miserable. You know what I mean? And it cost us our relationship. It cost me a lot. You know, financially and friggin' emotionally. You know, it took me ages to get over that, because of what the paranormal, and I'm sure people out there can relate. Some people can relate to that story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're saying the energy in that certain thing. Energy. Sorry, man. I keep
No,
butting in, but
you're right.
But that's the whole energy side.
Yeah.
That's where.
I mean, we were sort of talking with Glenn last night about him doing an investigation, and battery packs being sucked dry, and I've had similar investigations, and done a lot of TV recording as well, where you'd see battery packs that should last 6 or 8 or 10 hours, disappearing in 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it does, and I think the human body is just a big battery as well.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these entities, they need something to feed off. They need that energy, so they'll take it where they can get it. And unfortunately, when it's something that's a lot more malevolent and it's far more nasty, they don't really care where they're going to get it. They'll suck it out of you.
They'll get it. The funny thing about that unit, I never saw anything, but I knew something was there.
You knew something was there.
Yeah, because we'd come home, man, and seriously, our lounge suite was turned upside down. Our kitchen table was sitting in the lounge room, instead in the kitchen. Would constantly hear running up and down the stairs. It freaked her out.
Yeah.
Within a matter of 7 months, our relationship was over, because of all the activity and what it did to us in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because I could handle it, I was used to it, she couldn't, and that's sad, but it's a fact of life. These things happen, and I'm just lucky that nowadays I'm married to a woman that's understands that side of it. She doesn't want to know about it at the same time. If you know, she doesn't want to hear the stories. She just doesn't. But when I used to do readings, that she knew, and she gave me the space to do it and stuff like that. And I seriously thought about, do I go down this road or not? But what stopped me a lot of it was some family members were dead against it. Not my mum and dad, not my sister, but other people outside the family.
Yeah.
Thought it was a load of crap. thought it was stupid. And these were people I was close to, if you know what I mean. And I guess in a lot of ways it sort of stopped me from pursuing it.
Yeah, pursuing it any further.
Full time, if you know what I mean, because I won't bullshit someone. If I don't know something, I don't know something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't help you. Don't worry about paying me. Just, it's not today. You know what I mean? And I got males and females. More females, to be honest with you, but there's been quite a few males too who have come up for it. One of me long time mates I've known for 20 odd years. He just out of the blue he said, "Brad, I know what you do," type thing. I've heard whispers because of around our friends. I said, "Mate, I need your help. I need to get a reading off you." I went, "Mate, you're like a brother to me. I can't." So I ended up doing one anyway, which breaks all the rules.
Yep.
In that sense, and I told him, I said, "I know what you're doing, mate. What you're doing is wrong," type thing. It was, I won't get into it, but and I can't see. This is the thing. People have a direction in life. I can suggest to go left, but your nature will tell you to go right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got an intersection. Each moment in your life there is an intersection. And you travel down that intersection, down the road. You come down the intersection. You go, do I go left? Do I go right? What happens if I turn this way? What happens if I go this way? So I guess I suggest to people, look, you listen to me if you want. You're paying me to do this. I suggest you go this way because this will happen. You go, this will happen. So I'll give them sort of and it's quite funny. I guess so I shouldn't be getting back on readings and that, but I think people will be interested in some of the stories. I did this one reading. And I said to the lady, I said before she left, make sure that you're going to get your phone charged, like your recharge card. She said, it's out. And I said, well, because you're going to get a flat tire on the Ipswich motorway heading back. She went, oh, okay. And she did. She went and she got a flat tire on the way back so she could call somebody. Otherwise she would have been stuffed. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
Little things that I'll throw in occasionally. Look, if you're going to come to me and say, Brad, when I'm going to die, forget about it. I won't go there. I won't go down that road with you. I'm not going to say, hey, guess what, sunshine? Better give your library books back. You won't get that. You will. Your time will come when it comes. And people assume that. And, it's the slightest change in your direction will make that decision for you.
Yeah, well, I was about to say that, the old saying, there's many a slip twixt the cup and the lip. So
yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's this, everyone makes multiple decisions every day. So
oh yeah, it's but I'll tell you what, it has pulled me out of the shit a lot of times.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea. I would be out somewhere like when I was young at a nightclub. And and I'm like, I'll blue anybody. I'm what you call, I'm not what you expect someone like me to be. I'm far from it. That's when people meet me, they go, you're the guy who's giving me the reading? I said, yeah. Oh, well, I've heard really good things, but you're not more what I've pictured. Yeah, well, that's a good thing. I don't come across as all this other shit.
Yeah.
And I'm very frank with them. We sit down, have a chat, and give them all the details. Go from there and all the rest. That's great. They leave. Oh, you're happy or sad or what? Because they got closure or whatever. And they go on their merry way. And I always say to them, I'm not going to ask you to come back now. You come back and see me when you're ready. Look, and I've had them ring me the next week. So, Brad, I need to come and see you. No, you don't. You just want someone to talk to now. You need to vent. You need to get stuff off your chest, and that's not fair. On you and on me. I don't want people to do that. See me in 12 months if you like.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Not straight away. There's no need, and that's what annoys me about some medium psychics, whatever they call themselves. You need to come and see me next week so we can continue on this process of healing and all this other rubbish. Sometimes people just want a good chat.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. But I'd rather see them go to someone who is... I'll soon tell them on the phone. I'll say, look, no point me seeing you because all you need is a good conversation. You don't really want you don't want information. You just want to vent.
Yeah.
But they use psychics and mediums for that as well. and I'm very hesitant about dealing with that because it's like it's not fair on them.
Yeah.
You know, go and talk to your mate or something.
Yeah.
Chat, do it. It won't cost you a cent. You know,
Yeah,
this is
well,
my time too.
Yeah, but unfortunately, plenty of psychics and mediums out there who are more than happy to put their hand out for hundreds of dollars to do it. So,
What's that woman that got done recently who reckoned those 3 girls, one of the girls had died? You know, the House of Horrors?
yeah, well, she's
Sylvia.
in a bit of strife now.
What's her name?
Can't think of her
Sylvia something? Oh, God, I know her name. Well, the lady that, anyway, for the people who don't know, well, this lady, this well-known psychic or medium, whatever you call it, reckons that, the 3 girls that were kidnapped, well, one of the girls that rang up and got out said, she died. And of course her mother died about 12 months later, through complications and stuff. And the point being is that this woman charges $750 for half hour.
Well, the unfortunate part too is because she did a lot of grandstanding at the time as well, and made it, it was publicised that she'd given this reading and said that the unfortunate young girl had died. It was made very public knowledge.
Oh, it was
about
very
the reading,
public.
So,
but she was made famous from a TV show and stuff like that, and she was on Coast to Coast one night, and remember those miners over in the States?
Yeah.
And there was 12 of them trapped in the mine, and basically what had happened was I saw it on the internet that she said she was on Coast to Coast, and she goes, oh, listen, and the guy said, isn't it, that 12 of the miners are okay and one of them's passed away, and they hadn't told you that information, would you still think, oh yeah, no, I knew they were still alive, and yada yada yada. Anyway, halfway through the friggin' interview, he gets, there's miscommunication, 12 of them died. And then she said, I would have said that too, So she chops and changes her story to
suit.
Oh man, how could you do that to people? How could you go and say to someone, oh yeah, your missing kid or your kid's dead? How could you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But regardless, either way that it's that it flip flops. I mean, it's you can sort of see it as being very, very cruel for giving people false hope.
No.
But at the same time, for giving people bad news when it's turns out that there was no need for it. It's just as terrible.
No, it's not good. Anyway, well, we've come to the end of the show tonight because my boy's about to walk back from his soccer practice, and thank you, Liam, for being in the zombie mobile tonight doing the show.
It's been excellent tonight.
It's been good fun, and basically all we've done tonight, folks, we've just sat down and had a chat between the two of us, and to tell our stories, and hopefully you got some information out of it, and you'll know us a little bit better than in the past. But join us again tomorrow night. We'll have to think of something else to talk about for Wednesday night show.
So Wednesday night, tomorrow night, and then the big one on Thursday.
The big one on Thursday where I'll make an absolute goose out of myself. So thank you, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. And join us again next time on... Your turn.
The Naked
The
Zombie.
Naked Zombie. Good night, everyone. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.